I remember years ago when Attack on Titan Season 1 came out, I remember many not liking Eren. Not liking his character, not liking how he is very one-dimensional in terms of just wanting to, kill all the Titans, and nobody really liked the constant screaming / whining he did throughout Season 1. But when you look at the Eren for this episode, it's such a radical difference. And I think that this episode, if you compare it with, let's say, episode 1, 2, and 3's from Season 1's Eren, then you're just going to see such a major change that it's honestly not even the same character anymore. And it really just shows what has happened. The character development that's happened for him, but what he's had to go through these past 2 seasons to realize that, he's been given a position that he has to deal with, and there's just nothing he can do about it. And he's forced to carry on the will of the previous people that had the Attack Titan. So, to get right into it, let's analyze Eren's character. One of the big significant things I think everybody's going to notice is that Eren does not smile at all in this episode. And when you really think about the context of this episode, even if it is sad, like, people have died, they were having a funeral service for the Survey Corps members that, lost their lives, like Erwin Smith and all that, even though they were having a funeral service and, it was some sad moments, it still was happy because humanity gained back a big portion of their land. They were able to finally go outside the walls and see what they have out there. It was a major win. Like, everything that's been established to this very point within the series, you would look at what happened as a major win. I mean, they gained a lot. But the thing is, the sad reality is that Eren, he knows. He knows about the upcoming doom, the despair that is coming. And there's just nothing they really can do to stop it, because this isn't the end. There's another battle that needs to be fought, and it's going to be a hell of a lot worse than anything they've ever faced since the history of the 3 walls being formed. And it's sad because he doesn't show anything of any happiness at all, even if it should be slightly happy. Even the sea, like when they finally get to see the sea, which has kind of been the objective for a very long time, even before the basement, honestly. And when you see that, when they got there, you see Mikasa, she's happy. You see, Armin, he's happy. All the other characters are just, having a lot of good times. Like, they're happy, having fun. You see Hanji having fun. Even Levi's just pitching in all that. Even if he's not getting in the water, you can see he's having a little bit of fun. But then you see, Eren, he's just looking up, and he realizes that this is just a prison. They are in a prison. The island is a prison still. There still might as well be within a wall. And that's kind of what he's looking at, is like, just because we're at the ocean doesn't mean we're still not in a prison. Over there, across the ocean, is enemies that just want to end our lives, very similar to how the Titans were. It's just the situation has just changed a little bit. Instead of it just being focused on Titans now we have the entire world out there that just wants us. It's just, the objective is not over. They have not won. There is no winning, technically. And that's the sad reality of this. And it's not just that. The whole surprise of the sea, when you think about it, it was ruined. Eren had the sea ruined for him. Because before, he got all those visions where the memories were starting to happen, to where he was seeing the past and all that, he never knew what the ocean looked like. He had no idea. And this was something that he was always talking about with Armin. He was like, Armin's objective, his dream is to see the sea, to see what it looks like. And he wanted to see it alongside of Armin, because it was something that nobody really knew what it looked like. They heard about it, they could talk about it, but they didn't know. And he already kind of had that spoiled for him. The entire ocean was spoiled for him, but in the worst possible way. The first memory he gets of the ocean, this grand, wide open blue sea, was his father pretty much having to be told, you have to carry the mantle of the attacker titan, go within the wall, start a family, and basically try to change the world. And Eren was given such a wake-up call to what's happening within the world that how could you really have happy memories with the sea after remembering what his father had to go through, but also the person before him, which was also called Eren. So there's just so many things that really add up in that moment. But then recalling what is out there. Beyond the sea, there's more enemies that just want them completely dead, even worse so than the Titans. At least the Titans, they didn't necessarily have intelligence. Yes, the Titan Shifters did, but the regular Titans really didn't. They could deal with them. And now they have to fight an enemy that is leagues above them in technology and want them just gone. And they don't have a major window. Like, they have their window of opportunity, and the time is just ticking down to where they, they're running out. And once that time runs out, they're gone. They're dead. Like, their entire nation just gone off the map. So it's sad. I feel so bad for Eren, because you could just see from this episode alone how sad he is, and that he's carrying such a major weight that you could see that he really never wanted to begin with. He never wanted what he has. At first, when the series began, he thought that he was very special. He was important, and he is special now. That is definitely a thing. But he realizes now it's not good to really be special, because he realizes the burden, the weight on his shoulders now that he must carry that no one else can. It's very similar to what Erwin Smith was carrying, the burden of all the fallen comrades over the years of his service. So Eren has had so many wake-up calls that at the end he's nothing special. He is just a human, but he's also someone that needs to be used for this time. He is someone that's very important for this time, but one day he will be replaced. And he's having to come to terms with his own mortality, that he has a limited time on the planet, but he needs to get what is done in that limited time before everything is done. And I feel bad for the man, because just like I said, when you compare his character from the beginning to now, he was so naive. And now he knows. Like, when he looks at the Titan, that's honestly what says a lot, actually. When you see the Titan that's dragging itself through the ground, and they encounter it within this episode, you see to where he's like, he came this way, this far, and with his body like that, and Eren just walks up to the Titan, puts his hand on the Titan, and it's like, he's a fellow patriot. And that says a lot, too, because technically he's right. All those Titans that are there were people that were for their cause, for the mainland and all that got turned into Titans because they turned against the people across the sea. So every time they've taken out a Titan, they've just taken out a person that was really trying to help them out. And that's the sad reality. And so Eren can no longer look at the Titans the same exact way. He looks at the Titans as his people that have had a cruel fate cast upon him, very similar to him. And it pains him, because now it gives a whole new meaning to the Titans he's been taking out, because him wanting to kill all the Titans isn't necessarily something that's relatively good. In fact, it's kind of like the Titans are guarding them from invaders, and now he knows who the true enemy is. So Eren's goal is necessarily the same, but it's shifted a little bit with a little bit more of a darker tone, because now it's not the same message or meaning anymore. It's not just vengeance for, his mother or anything, or his town. It's more of he's fighting for his people. He wants his people to be able to be free, to be able to wake up in the morning without worry and all that of invaders coming in and destroying them all. And it's crazy, kind of, how the stakes have been raised, and Eren is one of the only people that really is aware of this, and I love just the situation of this episode, and man, it's fantastic just to see this as an anime only. I'm pretty happy. Like, I'm really happy just to see the change in Eren's character, because I recently took a glance at the beginning of the series, actually. I was watching season 1 again, actually, and seeing this episode, it makes me sad. I'm really sad for Eren. I mean, even his attachment to Historia is kind of scary in a way, and sad, because he now realizes how important Historia is. She's one of the last surviving, people of royal blood, and if she gets wiped out, it's over, there's nothing left. They won't be able to really be able to control the founding Titan again. So because of that, Eren realizes Historia needs to be protected but not be used, and that moment within this episode, how he's like, she needs to be protected, she needs to be safe and all that, it shows how he is really looking at Historia as someone of really major importance, even more so than Armin and Mikasa in a way, which is scary, because they've had some time together, but nowhere near as much as his childhood friends. So, yeah, I mean, it's crazy. It's really crazy. And it just once again shows the harsh reality that Grisha, the man that didn't really want to force his son to be like him because of the mistakes of his father and all that, he turned around and did the exact same thing to Eren. And in the way, Eren is forced to deal with it. There's just nothing he can do. He has to deal with it because there's no one really else. Now, another thing is the Armin scene. Armin had a really important scene, which carries on from the events of the choice that Levi had to make, Armin or Erwin Smith. And as we know, it was established, Levi says, "I will never regret my decision on choosing you. And you shouldn't regret the decision me choosing you as well, because there's people that believe in you, and you don't want them to regret that they fought for you as well." Like, Eren and Mikasa. And you see Armin getting really upset within this episode, where he's like, "It shouldn't have been me." And at the end of the day, he has changed a bit. He does have a lot of worth, but it's not something that's just going to shift to where he realizes he was the right choice, because there's not enough information out to really determine if Armin really was the right choice to get the Colossal Titan power. And when he says that Erwin Smith was the right choice, it makes a lot of sense. I mean, everybody believes that, and, I mean, it's true. Erwin Smith might be a person that would be really good to go across the sea and fight enemy nations. He might, but that's probably, never gonna happen, because it won't happen. He's gone. But Armin could be a lot better, because he's someone that's more about preserving life instead of just giving it up. And Erwin Smith was more of the type of person to constantly have his body count rise very high. And they can't really necessarily afford that. They can't afford stacking the bodies up anymore. They have to be able to, conserve their people, because they're fighting the entire world. They don't have as many people, so their soldiers matter a lot more. Like, one soldier is basically the equivalent of maybe 100 of the people across the ocean. They have to be able to have their quality higher than their quantity. So, I see where Armin is very important, but his dilemma right now is understanding his worth, and he needs to come to terms with that, and he needs to be able to accept it. And I do believe in due time he will be able to show it, and I believe he will man up and grow as a person. But for now, though, it is a large burden that's been placed on his shoulders that, once again, he did not ask for. It's like, Eren. He never asked for his burden, and now Armin must carry a burden just like Eren. So that's about it. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. If you enjoy my content, please subscribe. If you like this video, please leave a like. And if you want to get notified for whenever I upload a video, please click the bell icon down below. And with that, Chibi out.